Welcome to our Gallop TV preview show for Tuesday, the 15th of August. We race at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, and what is on offer for this Tuesday? Well, there's 8 races carded, and with no racing on the Monday, well, we'll kick off the week with racing from the Western Cape. Usually we join online by Graham Hawkins, but he's in studio today doing a bit of work at Hollywoodbets Greyville. Graham, nice to have you in studio. I think you've been here a few times now.
Yeah, nice to do the show in studio. I'm enjoying doing it online as well, but we're getting to the end of my stay in KwaZulu-Natal. I head back to the Western Cape at the end of August. We've got the KZN Awards on the 18th of August, this coming Friday. Then it's off to Joburg for the 2-year-old sale. Come back briefly to Durban before heading off to Cape Town. But hopefully I'll be back for the season next year from May through to the end of August again. It's been fabulous. It's been a hell of a season, and it's been great to be here with you guys in person. But going forward over the next couple of months, we'll be back on the line.
Yeah, Graham has become a fixture when it comes to Western Cape racing. When you look at the season overall, Western Cape, just, from a guidance point of view, it's been good because I've been following you.
Yeah, no, it's not been too bad. The conditions have been tough the last couple of months,
Yes.
obviously, for not only for us tipsters, but you can imagine for the jockeys, for the trainers, for the owners, with the excessive amount of rain that the Western Cape enjoyed. And I say enjoyed because we must never complain about rain. It was only 4 or 5 years ago that the Cape was down to day 0.
Sure.
We mustn't forget that. But the weather is stabilized. The tracks are drying up fast. And the point that needs to be borne in mind is that some of the recent form of horses that enjoyed the heavy going, now that it's starting to dry out and the tracks are becoming quicker, that form may not necessarily stand up. So you've got to take a more holistic view, and we'll have to see how it all shapes up over the next couple of weeks as the tracks dry out, they become quicker, and the weather becomes better.
And of course, when you race at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, it is a different view on how you study the book. But whichever form guide you're using, all the information is there. Well, the Hollywoodbets Durbanville welcomes you Cape A Stakes, that's what it's called. Over 1,250 meters will be race number 1, and it will kick off the bipod, Graham. Horses that are in single figures, let's go to them. Number 3 is at 7-2, number 4 at 13-10, and number 6 is at 2-1. Now, this horse carrying 53.5 kgs called We Can Go. What's it, Graham? We Can Go Night.
We can go all night.
We Can Go All Night. Oh, that's it. We Can Go All Night.
No, I can't anymore, but hopefully you can.
Sure. Coming back to he seems to enjoy the track. Has won over the course and distance, a nice low weight, and the fact is the horse is in good form. But I've watched the races at the recent starts. This is a smaller field. Seems to come from off the speed, but with this low weight, could be good enough to win.
Well, he's 1.5 kilos better off with Silver Falcon, who goes for 5 in a row. You and I both know it's never easy to win 5 in a row. Silver Falcon's course and distance form is fabulous. He's won twice from 3 starts at Durbanville. We Can Go All Night has won once from 2 starts. So they both like the track, but you're absolutely right. We Can Go All Night has drawn widest in a small field, will come from off the pace, has been desperately unlucky in his last 2 starts. And I'm expecting We Can Go All Night to turn the tables on number 4, Silver Falcon. Silver Falcon is one of these horses we have to wait and see whether, as the going dries out, he's going to be as effective on a faster track as he's been when the going has been a little slower. But we'll take it on trust, and I think that number 6, We Can Go All Night, will beat home number 4, Silver Falcon. There is a chance for number 3, After the Rain, makes his debut at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. Richard Fourie takes the ride. He's a speedy sort, and on best form must have a chance. But I think for the bipod, and this is the opening leg of the bipod, I think you're okay with numbers 4, Silver Falcon, and number 6, We Can Go All Night. But I'm expecting number 6, We Can Go All Night, to get the better of Silver Falcon on this occasion.
Bipod, 2 numbers?
2 numbers, 4 and 6.
4 and 6 in the bipod for Graham, and as he suggested, just keep an eye on the betting on horse number 3, After the Rain, from the Garrett van Zyl yard. On to the place accumulator, race number 2. It's over 1,000 meters. It's a maiden plate for fillies and mares, and this is where the first anti-post betting support comes into play, because we got a horse here that's been supported from even money in 2, 7-10. That's from Hollywoodbets, and that's horse number 2. Even money into 7-10. So take note of that. Balance of the runners in single figures, Graham. Number 7, Nile the Boss at 4-1, and number 10 is at 8-1. The scratching here, horse number 6 at the time of recording. These first timers, did any one of them grab your attention before we touch on the top one, or we'll use the betting as the guide? And of course, the stable comments are the most confidence I got was from Michelle Ricks and Harold Crawford. Nice type, can feature. That's what she says.
Yeah, there's been a little nibble in the market for number 10, La Pequinita. Was priced up 12-1 initially, so there has been a little bit of a nibble. Does face the worst of the draw. First time out at Hollywoodbets Durbanville. Not going to be easy. But the Harold Crawford, Michelle Ricks stable have been in pretty good form. They've got some nice youngsters, and Muzieni takes the ride. So if there's follow through, if there's further support, then you certainly got to take note. But I thought that number 2, Kaithera, represented the nap at this race meeting. Placed in both starts, well drawn. The Andre Nel stable has been ticking along very nicely in the Western Cape. Corne Orfa's riding his winners. Difficult to look beyond number 2, Kaithera, for the winner, and certainly from a bipod and a place accumulated perspective, for my money ranks a very confident banker, number 2, Kaithera. A little bit of respect for number 7, Nile the Boss, will improve on its last run and will appreciate, I think, the going drying out. Didn't race in the worst of the going, and does appear limited, but could have a chance. And we'll have to wait and see if there's any further support for number 10, La Pequinita. But I'm happy to roll in with number 2, Kaithera. I think that's a nap bet on the day.
Okay, I'm very confident there. If you pull out the form lines of this horse, you're not going to be too impressed, but there have been subsequent winners. Graham, I just want to point out that this horse, number 3, Pineapple Mint Green, if you pull out that form line, you are going to be wowed. And although the horse was well beaten, I think there's plenty of scope for improvement to come. So that could be the exacta play there, Graham.
Good mention for number 3, Pineapple Mint Green, because we know that Eric Sands doesn't wind them up first time out. We saw over the weekend he had 2 horses that they ran okay on debut, but they ended up running first and second, so plenty of scope for improvement. Pineapple Mint Green, fairly short in the market, Pineapple Mint Green, and another to respect if the support comes. But from a bipod and a place accumulated perspective, as I said, I'm happy to bank a number 2, Kaithera.
Yeah, we're going to roll in at Graham here. Go with the confidence, Kaithera. Nice 2 runs to date, and don't be phased that they haven't been direct winners from the form line. As I mentioned, they have been subsequent winners, and the horse has been off for 79 days. Race number 3, start of the pick 6 over 1,000 meters. Well, it was a bomb pick 6, and Graham and I did the show for Hollywoodbets Scottsville over the weekend, and there was some crazy result. There were some form results, but you got a bomb pick 6 over the weekend. When you had a look at this pick 6, Graham, I don't know if you did, but races 3 through to 8, is there a big dividend in the offing, or are you expecting some sensibility with the form?
No, I think I'm expecting some sensibility. There's always the potential for an upset,
yes.
And there are 1 or 2 tough races. But I think in many of the races you can narrow them down to 2 or 3 runners and maybe get away with that. But we've become used to the fact that Cape racing is very competitive. They don't race that often. They have about 60-odd meetings a year. The stake money it's now incredible stake money. They're doing a fantastic job in the Western Cape. So there are no easy pickings. The races are very competitive. And I think Lucinda Woodruff is the stable to follow at this meeting. She ended up Saturday with the winner, Cafe Culture. Bernard Faderbrand rode an absolute perler from the widest draw to beat the horse that we fancied very strongly, Moya Wala Liga. Well, Lucinda has a presence in 3 races. I'm not suggesting she's going to win all 3, but I think she's got very competitive runners, and I think she's a smaller stable that's worth following at this meeting. Or certainly keeping an eye on our horses, including this race 3. She saddles number 7, Beerenberg, who's got very, very good course and distance form, and ran second to behind We Can Go All Night in its penultimate start. I think Beerenberg is going to go really well. Not an easy task with 61.5, because the conditions of the race dictate that number 6, What Estate, from the inform Adam Marcus stable. What Estate is clearly the best weighted, and Gareth Wright rode a double over the weekend, so he's in good form. She carries only 52.5. Ragnar Lothbrok, I think he might prefer it. This is one horse that as the going firms up, so I think his form is going to deteriorate, Ragnar Lothbrok, because he really is a specialist in the wet going, is number 4, Ragnar Lothbrok. He might yet get away with it this run, but I've always said he's a better winter horse than he is a summer horse, but he's a really decent horse at best form. But I think that maybe, with a bit of luck in riding, hasn't raced since May, Beerenberg might just get the measure of What Estate, although What Estate is going to be hard to peg back at the weights. Some respect for Ragnar Lothbrok. The interesting run, of course, is Yellow Porsche Road. Ran second behind Charles Dickens on debut, then won well in its second start. Then obviously things went hopelessly awry, and he hasn't been seen since September last year at Yellow Porsche Road, but he's clearly a top horse, and he's been priced up at around 8-1. Bernard Fader takes the ride for Vaughan Marshall. If there's any market support for Yellow Porsche Road from pole position, then that needs to be respected. But in the absence of that, I'm happy to row in with numbers 4 Ragnar Lothbrok, 6 What Estate, and 7 Berenberg in the first leg of the pick 6, and I make number 7 Berenberg my narrow first choice.
Let me just give you the betting. Graham jumped into it there. Number 1 at 7-1, 4 at 33-10, 5 at 11-2, 6 at 3-1, 7 at 7-2, and then it's 10-1 and better the balance. And Graham suggesting that the mare, the 5-year-old, can the boys give her this much a weight, because she does top the best weighted column, but playing it safe here with numbers 4, 6, and 7. Graham for the bipod.
Yeah, I'm going to put all 3 in, 4, 6, and 7. What Estate is going to be very competitive. But like I said, I'm keeping an eye on Lucinda Woodruff's runners. I think they're ready to show their best form, as did Cafe Culture in the last over the weekend. So watch out for a big run from Berenberg.
Can numbers 4 and 7 give horse number 6, 9.5 kgs? That's it. 9 kgs. 9 kgs. That's what I worked
it out.
It's a lot of weight.
And she knows her way around that track, so she's very consistent. So she'll run a big race. What Estate?
Race number 4, 1,000 meters, and this is how they're betting here. Another horse that's been supported, anti-post, Hollywoodbets, will give you number 1, Bonanza, from 16-1 into 12-1. Number 2, Charlie Malone, is at 5-1. 4, Bullet, well, Graham did touch on the in-form yard of Lucinda Woodruff, one to follow at this meeting. Her horse with Bernard Fader is trading at 4-1. Then we go on to number 8 at 7-1, 9 at 8-1, and we got a 13-10 shot here, Graham. It is a big gap between herself at 13-10 and the next best in the betting market, which is around 4-1. Is she a place accumulator in the bipod banker, or we can go one step further and say maybe even a pick 6 banker?
Not for me. Not my money. She's never won at the track. She's gone up in the weight. She's been marvelly consistent at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth. She's in terrific form. Adam Marcus has done a fantastic job with her. Gets the service of Richard Free from the widest draw of all. Not for me, Dees. I'm playing to beat number 10, Jury Duty. I'm happy to have egg all over my face. Here I'm very much in the camp of Lucinda Woodruff's runner, Bullet. I think coming along the right way. Nothing to choose between Charlie Malone and Bullet on the evidence of their last run behind Winter Pearl.
Correct.
That wasn't a strong race. I accept all that. This is not a strong race. I'm not suggesting for 1 second that Jury Duty can't win and that I'm going to exclude her from the calculations. Clearly she's got to go in, along with potentially Wordsworth and Final Move as other roughies to like. But my top choice here is definitely Bullet ahead of Charlie Malone and Jury Duty, with some respect for Wordsworth and Final Move. But no, I cannot suggest for 1 second that Jury Duty is a place accumulator, bipod, or pick 6 banker. I think she's vulnerable from the worst of the draw, and I'll wait to see how she goes at Hollywoodbets Durbanville before making her a good thing. Her form down the straight at Hollywoodbets Kenilworth has been exemplary. She's been a credit to Adam Marcus, because when she started out, if you said to me that Jury Duty was going to win 5 races from 17 starts, I would have said you're smoking some of the good Durban stuff.
Yeah, because she ended off a season very, very well, winning 2, 4, 5 in the last 5 starts to the end of the season. She actually won 3 times. She ended off with a bang, and she's here for another season as a 6-year-old, number 10, Jury Duty. But Graham could be on the mark here. 13-10 could be too short in the betting, and he's suggesting, if you want to play for a result, horses to consider, numbers 4, 2, and possibly horse number 8, Wordsworth. Then on to race number 5. It's over 1,250 meters, and this is how they're betting here, Graham. Number 3, Catalea, at 28-10. I think she'll be having her first start. Yes, she will, for Greg Enyon. Then we go on to number 5 at 7-1, 6 at 33-10. We got number 8 at 8-1, and then we got Unconquerable Lady at 5-2. I firstly just want to briefly touch on the distance, Graham, because when I was having a look at this yesterday, I said, 1,250 meters is a strange distance, isn't it? It's like the 1160 that they have at Turfentine and the 1250 that they have here. We have 1100s and 5 furlongs and that type of thing, but once they go that 50 meters or that 60 meters, it becomes a bit tricky, because there's hardly any stats when you look at the form book.
Yeah, I think the extra 50 metres here is just taking into account the proximity of the 1,200 metre start to the start of the bend.
Sure.
So an extra 50 metres is just, and I think the jockeys will tell you it's a valuable extra 50 metres just to find their feet, find their positions before they hit the corner. I think at Turffontein, 14.50 on the inside track for the same reason. The interesting history about the straight at Turffontein is when I started as racing executive at Phumelela, everything was still called 1,200 metres at Turffontein down the straight. Yeah. And it was the fastest 1,200 metre track in the world. I mean, the 1,200 metres times were just about the fastest. And I said, this can't really be. So we had the track measured. And the 1,200 metres for 100 years of racing at Turffontein was incorrect. They used to say about 6 furlongs in the old days, or about 5 furlongs. I'm giving you a history lesson now in the middle of this preview. Yes. So we had the track measured, and I said, from now on, it's 1,160 metres because that is what it is.
Look at that.
We can't have a 1,200 metre time, a time being recorded over 1160 being attributed to 1,200 metres and breaking world records, etc. So 40 metres makes a heck of a difference to times, especially when the going is very quick, the winter going. So anyway, that's the history of the 1160.
Now we know the 1160 at Turffontein. Graham Hawkins got something to do with that. Race number 5, Graham. This horse, Catalea, Greg Enion, this horse has fell into his lap after winning well from Brett Crawford last time.
Yeah, it raced in the colours of Main Chance Farms. Now, we labelled this horse. This was a horse that was good to us. In the previous show that we did for the 3rd of August, we labelled Catalea. It was 7 and 8 to 1. You could get 7 and 8 to 1. The money poured. I'm not saying poured on because of the fact that we fancied it, but it started 28 to 10. Did the job, beating Among the Clouds by 3/4 of a length. It's drawn well again. It was drawn well on that occasion. The going was a touch more soft than it's going to be this time around, but with Richard Free, why desert a winning combination? We did well with her last time, and I'm following up. I think that Catalea is going to go back to back, but it's not going to be a formality for her. I do think Catalea is the one to beat. Obviously, the early favourite, Unconquerable Lady, looks very decent. Is drawn a little more awkwardly, that is Catalea. Catalea is a year older, so I'm happy to be in the camp of Catalea. As I said, she did us a good turn last time, so I'm not going to desert her now or turn my back on her, but Unconquerable Lady definitely has a chance. And then number 6, Lady Lookalike, could be anything. Won so well last time. I'm not sure how strong that form is, but a lovely pedigree. Louis Kotwa rode Catalea last time. Now, obviously rides for his stable because Catalea left to Brett Crawford, is now with Greg Enion, as you've mentioned. So I'm going to give Lady Lookalike the benefit of the doubt that she might have scope for improvement. And for me, those are the only 3 horses in the race. 3 Catalea, 6 Lady Lookalike, and 9 Unconquerable Lady. Anything else were to win, I'd be out the pick 6 and I'd be out the jackpot. You asked me earlier, can we narrow these leagues down? Well, I'm narrowing them down. Whether I'm doing so successfully, Dees, of course, the proof of the pudding will be in the eating. But I'm in the camp of Catalea to do us another good turn.
I just want to include one horse. Maybe not the pick 6, as Graham mentioned. Those 3 horses are good enough. Trifectas and quartets. Keep an eye on this horse, Defender of Rights. I know, very costly, expensive to follow up in Gauteng. But their debut run, there was a little interest in the betting market. We'll see how she's come on. Number 7, Defender of Rights. She's cost me a lot of money up in Gauteng. Maybe she could pay something back in Cape Town. Race number 6, 1,600 meters, fillies and mares. They're betting number 1, Lady Silvano at 4 to 1, Graham. Number 4, Veronica Mars at 4 to 1. Fleeting number 5 at 8 to 1. And then you spoke about Lucinda Woodruff and how good her stable is looking and her horses are running well and the results are there to see. This filly, obviously, she just had the 3 runs as a 3-year-old and she started off pretty late back in December 2022. But the time of racing has certainly proved to be spot on with Lucinda Woodruff because she has now gone back to back after that debut. And for me, she looks a very progressive type, Graham, especially that step up in distance, which she enjoyed last time out.
Absolutely. I mean, she clearly had problems early in her career, needed time to develop, needed time to mature, perhaps needed time to get over some or other injury. But she's only had 2 starts in 2023. She's won them both. Corne Orpha's ridden her to both victories. She enjoyed the step up to 1,600 metres. And this is probably the principal Lucinda Woodruff run on the day. I do fancy Bullet. But the stable companion, number 9, Island Treasures, not without a chance either, ran 3rd behind My Flower Fate last time. Anthony Andrews unfortunately puts a kilo overweight, and Island Treasure's not well drawn. So we're in the camp of number 6, My Flower Fate. I think number 4, Veronica Mars, is the one to beat. Philosophize has a chance, but I do think that number 6, My Flower Fate, sets the standard here. If you could include a bit of a roughie, then the course specialist is number 5, Fleeting. Richard Faree doesn't often ride for Brett Crawford. Fleeting is at 4 starts over the course and distance for 2 wins, a second and a fourth, and is attractively priced at 10 to 1. So if there is going to be a boil over, and there's going to be one result that could possibly heighten the pick 6 dividend, it could be number 5, Fleeting. So in this race, although I'm in the camp of number 6, Flower Fate, I'm going to include 4, Veronica Mars, 5, Fleeting, 6, My Flower Fate, 8, Philosophize, and 9, Island Treasure in the pick 6. In the bipot and the place accumulator, I'm going 4, 6, and 9.
Well, seems like Graham Hawkins is running for cover here. She's going for 3 in a row, number 6, My Flower Fate. Is she going to achieve a much higher than an 84? Well, if you think she is, then she could be good enough to reel off the hat trick. But Graham's numbers in numerical order will be 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. That's going to be his play here in race number 6. And I think if you beat the 5 to 2 shot here, you will certainly drop tickets. Race number 7 is over 1,800 meters. How they're betting? Number 2, Kingdom of Heaven at 9 to 2. Then we go all the way to number 5, Exceeder, and another horse, first run for Greg Enyon, 33 to 10. Number 6 is at 5 to 2. And then number 7 is at 5 to 2. Just 8 runners go to post, Graham, but this is one of the races where, I know the betting is a guide, and they're betting tight at the top of the betting board. Tells you what the fixed odds betting market think of the race. And I couldn't even narrow my selections down for the PA. Maybe 3 runners for the PA, Graham. I'll give you an order of preference, the horses that I like. I'm going to row in with horse number 7 as my top choice to beat number 6 and then number 2. So, I'm not saying that Exceeder can't win, but we'll see how the horse goes first up for Greg Enyon.
I can't be much help to hear. I'm glad you've ventured your selections. I'm happy to be in the camp of number 7, Pertet Kumoa. Obvious claims on form, but nothing stands out here, and it's typically a field race. It's tough because I think the best horse in the race is number 2, Kingdom of Heaven. He's certainly got the best pedigree, but my goodness, his recent form in April, and even since being gelded, his first start since being gelded in April was a shocker. His second start was a shocker. Surely he's got to go better. He's beautifully bred, and if he can't shape in this kind of a field, then clearly he has a challenge going forward. But the form is very evenly matched. I can't be of much help. I'm happy to support your selections. Number 7, Pertet Kumoa. Number 6, Fallow and Cora. Number 2, Kingdom of Heaven. They're all 3 trained by Justin Snaith. And this is the kind of race where you could certainly run 1, 2, and 3. So you're in the camp of the Western Cape's leading trainer, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I'll support you 7, 6, and 2 as being the top 3 choices. But Exceeder does warrant some respect. Richard Faree riding for Greg Enyon. And then Twice the Master gets blinkers for the first time in his career. Could show sudden improvement. He's only run over the course and distance. He finished second. But this is a trappy little affair, and I can't be of much help to you. Happy to go with your numbers.
Yeah, I think those numbers just for the place accumulates. I think Graham's right. With regards to the pick 6, I would, just not to, if you're staying in up to race number 6, I think you want the field, yeah. There is a form update on number 4, Guy Alexander, finished 9th, beaten 24 lengths by rule of thumb. We'll see if that runs or if that is scratch, Graham. I don't know at the time of recording.
Well, form, that's certainly got the least chance,
yeah,
but if you're going to put in 7, you're not going to leave one
I think that could be too soon. The 12th of August, we'll see if that takes its place on Tuesday, having run over the weekend. Now on to race number 8, over 1,800 meters. How are we going to close things off here? The previous race was tough. Can we narrow it down in race number 8? Number 1, Cloud Chaser, is at 4 to 1. Number 5, Miss New York, at 8 to 1. Then we come to the business end of the betting. Number 6 at 22 to 10, and number 7, Zippy Over, at 33 to 10. Is there a possibility that we can go light here after the previous race where we played wide?
Match race, 6, Lucy the Pink, and 7, Zippy Over. I'm expecting that form to stand up. Lucy the Pink is in solid form. Zippy Over returned to form. They go over a similar distance. Lucy the Pink is a little bit better off at the weight, so I'm actually expecting number 6, Lucy the Pink, to reverse the order with number 7, Zippy Over, but Zippy Over is finding solid anti-post support in the market. For me, that form will stand up. I'm looking no further than 6, Lucy the Pink, and 7, Zippy Over for the winner. Match race for me.
Match race to close things off, numbers 6 and 7. Graham, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in the studio. If you had to look at the card and how you've structured the bets, etc., anything stand out for you with regards to each way selections, or a win bet, or a double, or something for our racing fans that follow Gallop TV, especially follow you at 2 centres in Cape Town, Hollywoodbets Kenilworth and Hollywoodbets Durbanville. Anything that you can suggest at the end of the show?
Well, I'd start the all to come with number 2, Kaithera, unless, and I'm putting a disclaimer out there if you like, unless there's real solid support for any of those first-timers or those that are likely raced. So, because that would upset the market. If there's, in the absence of a market springer or solid support for any of the other runners, I think you can start your all to comes with number 2, Kaithera, as a win. And then the 3 Lucinda Woodruff runners to place. So that would be Berenberg to place. Bullet to place, and up to you. My Flower Fate to place or a win. I would play around those.
Well, Graham suggested at the top of the show that there are certain races that you could certainly narrow it down, and certain races where you're going to have to play wide to try and get a piece of the exotics. We thank Graham for his time, and I wish him all the best, because that is the last time that we'll see him in the studio before he heads off to Cape Town at the end of August, and we'll still have him on the line. Graham, it's been a pleasure, and from the Gallop TV team, just for your position as analyst in Cape Town, Western Cape, and of course Durbanville and Hollywoodbets Kenilworth, we thank you for your time, and although you may not be visiting us in the studio, we look forward to chatting to you on the line. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I grew up in Cape Racing. It looks as if I'll die in Cape Racing as well. I'll be in the studio one more time. I'm recording the show for Hollywoodbets Greyville with Rahil in the week, but for the most part thereafter, I'll be on the line.
Thanks to Graham Hawkins on behalf of the Gallop TV team. Graham Hawkins, myself, Dees9, and have a good day racing at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, and until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gashle.